traditional Marathi words, merely insinuations. Thank you, my lord. That will be all.
Mr. Tilak?
Your Lordship. My learned friend Mr. Bransell has attempted to show the alleged malice, the poison that I am supposed to have spread amongst the populace. I merely wish to state what I feel about the whole affair. Gentlemen, the country that you live in is a land of intelligent thinking people, not natives who have merely learned the letter. The people of this country have minds, have hearts that beat for the welfare of their country whenever it may. As such, in such circumstances, it is my obligation, nay, my duty, to put forth the truth before the public. An editor's task is not to play host to what should be, but indeed what is. The public demands and deserves the truth. It should not be fed with lies and gilded with tales of harmony when the world at large is full of unrest. I am simply a product of my circumstances. My words are nothing but a clear reflection of the society. And if the society is undergoing a change, then it is my sacred duty to show it as such. Secondly, on charges of sedition and attempting to spur the public to rebellion, I have tried time and again to show to this honorable court that the corruption of my words has led to the maligning of my intention. To arouse the passions of the general masses, one must have the intention to do so. And my intention, as I have tried to show to this court, was not to deviate, but to educate the masses. I am being held ransom to the whims and fancies of another's perception. One that I have shown is changeable. I lay importance on the fact that these words, phrases and articles in the Kesari, which have been so grossly misinterpreted, are best suited for the Marathi-speaking community, who have, as is evident, considered them what they are: simple writings that do not have any ulterior motive. I leave myself to this court's judgment, but my humble request would be that the jury may deeply consider what I said in the light of what I know to be the context of my words, and not the deeply misguiding translations that show me to support a reprehensible crime, one that I do not support. Thank you, Your Lordship.
Gentlemen, I am afraid your patience has been sorely taxed during the 8 days which this trial has taken. And I do not propose to tax your patience to any extent, as the case from both the sides has been adequately put before you. The accused has made many complaints about the translations. It is quite open to the accused to bring in other translations into this court as well. Further, Mr. Joshi was submitted to a long cross-examination in the box on this point. If you feel that the translations are, as the accused said, distorted and unfair, then substitute his translations and see for yourself whether the sentiments that are expressed are any different from those that are conveyed by the translator. Then we come to the consideration of the second article, dated 9th June 1908. Do you talk of patriotism in the case of bombs? Bombs that affect murders? You are the best judges of whether such a discussion does or does not tend to bring the government in India into hatred and contempt. The case is a very important one to the accused. The charge is very serious. If you feel he is guilty, you must say so. But if you have any doubt in your minds, then give him the benefit of doubt, if there is any reasonable or substantial doubt in your minds.
Gentlemen of the jury, are you unanimous?
No.
What is the number that you are divided on?
2:1.
On all the charges?
Yes.
On the charges under sections 124A and 153A of the Indian Penal Code with respect to the impugned articles dated 12th of May 1908 and 9th of June 1908. What is the verdict of this honorable court?
Guilty.
2:1.
Yes.
Under section 305 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, if the jury is divided, then the judge is bound to state whether he agrees with the majority or not. Hence, I have no option but to do so. It is my duty to pass a sentence upon you. I cannot tell you how difficult it is for me to see you in such a position. You are a man of great talents and undoubted power and influence, which, if used for the good of your country, would have gone to bring about a great deal of happiness for the people whose cause you profess to espouse. It seems to me that it must be a diseased mind, a most perverted mind, that could say that the articles that you have written are legitimate weapons in political agitation. They are seething with violence. They talk about bombs. They talk about murders. I do not think I can pass consistently with my conscience, with my duty, and with the gravity of the offense that you have committed, a lighter sentence than that I am about to give you. You are liable to be transported for life. Therefore, under sections 124A and 153A, I am entitled to pass a sentence of 3 years' transportation running consecutively. I also fine you a sum of 1,000 rupees.
In spite of the verdict, I maintain that I am innocent. There are higher powers which govern the destiny of things, and it may be by the will of Providence that the cause I support may prosper more by my suffering than by my remaining free.
These words are now immortalized in the pages of Indian history. They remind us about how much struggle has gone in to freeing India from oppression. Lokmanya Tilak was released from prison in 1914. He was not as fierce as before because of the diabetes and hardships which he faced while in Mandalay prison. But nevertheless, he continued his work. When the First World War started, Tilak cabled the King Emperor in Britain of his support and turned his oratory to find new recruits for war efforts. He welcomed the Indian Councils Act, which had been passed by the British Parliament, terming it as a marked increase of confidence between the rulers and the ruled. Tilak reunited with his fellow nationalists and rejoined the National Indian Congress in 1916. After years of trying to reunite the moderate and the radical factions, he gave up and focused on the Home Rule League, which sought self-rule. Clearly, his greatness cannot be quantified in mere words. Tilak often said, "I regard India as my motherland and my goddess. The people in India, my kith and kin, and loyal and steadfast work for their political and social emancipation, my highest religion and duty." Let us leave today with the spirit of oneness in our hearts, the feeling prescribed to by Lokmanya Tilak. without the efforts of many people. Firstly, we would like to thank Honorable Dr. Deepak Tilak for letting us take the liberty to put together this play. Honorable Dr. S.P. Mujumdar sir for encouraging us at every step. Advocate Rana Desa for being the inspiration behind this play. Honorable Dr. Shashikala Gurpur for giving us the leeway to explore our creativities. Professor Joshua Aston for smoothing the difficulties in our way. Dr. Shashikant Hazare and Professor Atmaram Sherke for the preliminary research on this play. Professor Aruna Sampath for her invaluable inputs. Professor Swati Yogesh and Professor Aparna Kalita for being the pillars of support that they are. Professor S.P. Nayak for his legal perspective. Mr. Ajay Funkar and Mr. Rohan Sulapurkar for their constructive critique. Mr. Chaitanya Kunte for the background score. Ms. Mridul Patwardhan and her team for the costumes. Mr. Prabhakar Bhave for the makeup. Mr. Ashok for the lights, and Suryavanshi sir for the innumerable little things. A special thank you to Professor Ashutosh Naik sir and Mr. Jamil for last minute fine tuning. And finally, a word of appreciation for the cast. The list of participants for this play are Neil D'Souza for overall direction and Inspector of the Bombay Police, Mr. Sullivan, Rahul Harpanahali and Shayan Das Gupta for the technical support for lights, sounds and music, Shritama Ehersa for script writing and background narration, Dhruv Joshi as Lokmanya Tilak, Marmik Shah as the prosecution lawyer, Mr. Batista, Anuprit Bhargav as Justice Dinshaw Dawar, Aman Shukla as the court clerk, Mr. Jardine, Madhav Chandavarkar for being Advocate Branson, Someshwar Wale as Mr. Narayan Juganar Datar, Ashley Stevens as the reporter, Kushagra Raj as Bhaskar Vishnu Joshi, Abhishek Sankritik for being the British High Command, Amartya Basu for Prafulla Chaki, Abhishek Agrawal for Khudiram Bose, George Titus for being the police officer. The jury members were Abhigyan Sengupta, Anurag Pandey and Nikhil Baga. The crowd consisted of Varun Tripathi, Shayan Das Gupta, Piyush Upadhyay and Abhinav Singh, Kaustav Som as the assistant to the Advocate General, the police constables Akshay Srivastav, Manan Malik, and a special thank you to the movie makers, that is Harlaksh Singh, Sriram Kanan, and Abraham Verghese and Raghav for their help. Now a word of appreciation for the faculty for all their support. Lastly, but definitely not the least, a heartfelt thank you to the students associated with this play. There are too many names and their contribution too great to wrap up in mere pages. Thank you, the technical staff, the backstage committee, the research group, and the student council, without whom this play would remain a sheaf of paper. A very good evening to all.